Hi and welcome! In this video today I have a very special guest for you. The brand new Phase 1 XF IQ3 trichromatic, almost €50,000 camera. This is a special video because this is a very special camera. Not only because it costs €48,000. To just take it in consideration, you can buy for the same price 106 Sony a6000 or 42 brand new iPhone X, or as we in Berlin say, you can buy 19,200 Döner Kebab. You know Döner Kebab? That's something to eat here in Berlin. We like it a lot. And you can buy 19,200 Döner for that camera. That means you can eat every day for 52 years a Döner Kebab. Or you can buy that camera. And what that camera can do and why it's that expensive, you will learn in this video. I got this camera for testing purpose, so it's not my own camera, but thanks a lot to Felix and to Ives who made it possible to test that baby here. And yeah, I'm very warm, I would say, with this camera, and I can tell you what is so special. So let's start first. As we can see, it's a very huge camera. It's almost like a red camera or something, so like a video camera. It looks like a camcorder, but it's actually only for still photography. The whole camera is built like this. You have a middle part, and in the middle part all the technique is. You have all the software and stuff, and then here on the top you can use that huge viewfinder here, or you can just take it off and use the viewfinder where you look from the top, which is amazing, just like with my old film medium format camera, or you can just attach it back on the cam. On the back is actually the sensor, so everything which you capture is here on the back. In this case, it's the IQ3 trichromatic, but you can just take it off and take another back on the camera and then have more or less megapixel or a total different sensor, which is amazing because when in maybe 2 years a new sensor comes, you don't have to switch your whole camera system, but only the sensor on the back, or you just rent yourself another sensor if you need it. Then of course in the front is the lens, and those are not some nice red ring lenses. Those are the blue ring lenses from Schneider Kreuznach, and they are not only amazing from the look, but they are expensive as hell as well. For the price of one of those lenses, you can buy yourself a whole camera system with like 5 brand new lenses and everything, or you can get yourself one of those lenses. Let's talk about what you actually get for the price of €48,000. You get the viewfinder, you get the middle part, you get the back. As I mentioned, the IQ3 trichromatic, which is an amazing back. You can choose between one of the blue ring lenses, and most of the people choose the most expensive lens because it does not cost more or less if you get a more or less expensive lens. And of course you get a whole box, so actually it's a trolley where you can store your camera, and which I like a lot about the trolley is that you have some shading, mobile working space thing which you can just pop out and photograph and just tether inside your laptop, but the laptop is not included in the price, of course. Let's talk about what makes this camera so amazing. First of all, it's a medium format camera. That means it has a medium format sensor. For those of the people that don't know what medium format means, let's think about a full frame sensor, which most of the people think is the biggest sensor, but it's definitely not. Full frame is something like this huge, and medium format is 2.5 times bigger than full frame. Then APS-C is smaller than full frame, and Micro Four Thirds is a lot smaller than full frame. But remember, medium format 2.5 times bigger than full frame, and you will see some nice B-roll material here in the background where you can actually see how huge the difference is in the sensor size. Then of course, not only the sensor size is huge, but of course the megapixel. It has 100 megapixels, which means 100 million megapixels on the huge medium format sensor. And because it's such a huge sensor, everything is different. 80 millimeters on this lens on medium format is 50 millimeter on full frame. So you don't have to think in a crop factor, but you actually have to divide. So 80 millimeters divided by 1.5, and then you get something like 53 millimeters. Also, the 2.8 is not a 2.8, but it's on full frame, something like 1.4, 1.8, so very open aperture. But here on the lens, 80 millimeter, 2.8. So we can say when we photograph here, it is something like 50 millimeter 1.4, but it's actually 80 millimeters 2.8 on medium format. When I photograph, I look here in the viewfinder, of course, and then I can just use the autofocus, and in my case, it's here in the front. So I just focus now, and I take the image, and that is an amazing thing about the camera. Hear that nice shutter sound. Shutter sound on the camera is something like with the car, the engine sound. Listen again to it, focus, and rich, rach, bang! It's something like the sound of a Polaroid cam or something, where you then get the image afterwards, listen to it again, and then comes usually the image. Image quality, we will look later. Let's talk about features, what this camera has. I like technical features a lot, and I always like camera brands that try to improve all the features. And we have a touch screen here on the top, and as well a touch screen on the back. And I can use the touch screen on the back just for sliding through the images, but I can as well switch some things. I can zoom in, zoom out of an image. I can use the live view as well. So this camera has live view, actually. That is amazing. Usually the expensive cams don't have any fancy stuff, but this one has touch and live view. I can zoom in, I can zoom out, and as well here on the top, I can just slide through the different modes that I have available here. And what I like a lot is, first of all, focus stacking in the camera, then time-lapse mode, and we have to remember this camera 100 megapixel, which means we have 12K time-lapse. I need this camera for time-lapse actually. I want to do a time-lapse on this camera. Then yeah, focus stacking HDR. We have a seismograph, which means that it actually tracks if the camera is still, also on the tripod, or if something is shaking. And when you activate the mode, the camera is not releasing the shutter as long as the camera is shaking just a little tiny bit. Only when it's very still, it releases the shutter. Not only the 100 megapixel on the medium format sensor are interesting, but what I did not know as well is that it has a native ISO of 35, which is very low, and what means that the sensor is then not that much sensitive to light. Which means you need a longer shutter speed, or you need a very open aperture, or you need much light. You can use higher ISOs as well. It can go up till 12,800, but it's not usable anymore actually. But something between 800, 1,600 is good usable. So you can shoot in lower lights, I would say, but it's definitely not a low light camera and needs a lot of light for great images. It has 15 stops dynamic range, so huge dynamic range. You can slide your sliders a lot, and a lot of information is captured in the raw file. And let's talk about the files. One file is 120 megabyte huge, 16-bit color depth, which is 2-bit more than just a normal A7R or something. And yeah, everything is just enormous on the files you get. You have to edit them in Capture One Pro, what I downloaded for testing purposes as well. You get a 30-day trial, you can test everything out for yourself. What is pretty funny, that the camera actually has 2 batteries. So if you are concerned about battery life, better get yourself some more batteries. You need 1 battery for the middle part of the camera and 1 extra battery for the back of the camera. Both are the same. They are pretty huge, but only last for 3, maybe 4 hours of shooting time. When you use the live view more, of course, it consumes more battery life. But enough talking about the camera, let's look at the images on the computer and actually see what 100 megapixel means. all in all, I think it's an amazing camera, but I think you agree that it's not a camera that is for daily life and that is meant for everybody. It's a really professional tool, and I call it tool and not camera because it is used like a tool. It's huge, it's heavy, you have to really take care of everything, you really need to know what you are doing. There are some features like the live view which makes it a bit more easy to use the camera, but it's even for me sometimes difficult to use the camera. It's not fast, it's actually very slow, and when you want to shoot faster things and faster moving things maybe, or just you have to be fast, it's not really that easy with that camera because you need a lot of time and a lot of light to get very clear and very good images. But when you have the time, when you have of course the money on your bank account or just on your credit card, and you have enough of light, then it's just an amazing camera. It's amazing to just listen to the sound, to just handle the camera and everything. But is it a camera for me? I would say I don't know actually, because I just used it now for 2 weeks. I tested it in different purposes. For some of the purposes I've mentioned, it's not fast enough for my taste and for what I'm used to do, but the image quality, the 100 megapixels are amazing. But do you really need the 100 mega? I don't know actually, but I will see. Maybe in the future, maybe I will just take the camera to some crazy places or something, test it more in the future. But for now, I would say it's amazing, but it's not the camera that I would choose first for most of the things that I'm doing. But for some special occasions maybe, it's a great camera as well for me. What is your opinion? Would that be a camera for you if money would not matter or something? Or what would you buy instead? Buying this camera? Write it in the comments below. I'm really looking forward for your answers. And if you have further questions as well, just in the comments below. We did some more videos with this camera. We did some comparison with the A7R II, with the iPhone X. You can look forward to that videos and quick commercial. If you want to learn more about photography, check out learnfromben.com. This is my website. There we got video courses you can download instantly on your computer and learn about landscape photography, image editing, and all the good stuff. Learnfromben.com. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit thumbs up. Share the video with a friend of you who desperately wants this camera. And we see us in the next video. Bye bye. And I take some more photos.